Hey,
Hey, how's it
how are you
going?
doing today, Bambi?
I'm good, good. Just got in the house from dinner. It's nice.
Yeah, what'd you have for dinner? I just came from dinner as well. What's up, Brandy? I see you.
What is Nandy? Nandy, hi, Nandy Pooh.
Hi, Nandy Boo.
Okay, so I kind of disagree with the first factor because I feel like when a single dad is a legit single dad, with no influence of the mother in the house, they do look for whichever woman they're dating to come in and be that motherly figure, whether they say like, oh, it's just internalized for that man. It's like, and it may be like almost how people say stuff is like, I'm trying to think of how to say it. I've been okay. So
If
hold
there
up.
are any single dads in here, um, I would, I can't directly speak to what she's saying right now. I don't have children, and I'm not a single father who doesn't have the mother's influence. So if there are any of those men in here, feel free. If there's any women in here that want to come and just speak on the topic in general, feel free to come up here.
Yeah, so I dated a guy with two kids. His kids were a little bit older, and he had me do stuff for his kids, and they were disrespectful. So at one point, I'm just like, okay, because I came in real fun. You feel me? I was a lot like I'm not far. I wasn't far from their ages. He had his own house, his own business, whatever the case may be. But in the same sense, his kids were bad, disrespectful, so I didn't really want to be bothered with his kids like that. So when I stepped away, he still would like, I gotta help with groceries and stuff, like, and do certain things, and I didn't feel like that's my place. Like those are your kids, and they're old enough to be able to do for themselves. Like one's in high school. Like I don't need to help your kids. Is how I feel. So I feel like it kind of go on both parts, but you just got to find somebody that's willing to make it make sense in the same sense because everybody's situation is different. And I feel like a lot of times we throw out anomalies. Stuff don't be anomalies because I hear thousands and thousands of people on this internet and platform say some of the similar things. So I don't think it necessarily be anomalies. I think it works for who it works for.
So, Bambi, you think there's a lot of 28-year-old single mothers that have a crib that run I'll say a successful business and have a paid off Mercedes Benz. You think that's a lot of women, a lot of
We're
single
not
mothers?
we're not talking about my situation like in that sense. No, I mean a lot of single mothers aren't like that, but I think there. I'm not going to say that. I think there are, and especially me living in Atlanta, I see a lot of prosperous black women. So I can't say that. Atlanta's like home of the prosperous black people. So I don't know. I wouldn't agree to that. I think it's just where you're at and what situation you're in. Of course, if you're living in poverty or come from the hood, yeah, baby mothers is doing a lot worse than women who do good. And I think people take away from that a lot. Like that there's the fact that there's black women out here doing their goddamn thing and it's not an anomaly.
Okay, what do you think about the post itself? It says if you're a single man with no kids, decent house slash apartment and car, single mothers shouldn't even exist to you. What do you think about the post itself?
I think what works for that man. Like if that's the man that looks at a woman and be like, okay, I know for myself, I don't want to deal with a woman with children. I don't want to deal with baby daddy problems. I don't want to deal with that. Then that'll work for that man. But I think there's also men that are like, okay, this woman don't have baby father issues, or her child father died when her child was very young, or this woman is a brilliant woman, or this woman went through that, so that man doesn't really focus on her being a single mother or not. So I think it goes both ways. It's 50-50 is how you feel.
So I have relationships with single mothers, and I want to ask you this because I've been getting told a lot recently from women that have children. Now, whether they're telling me the truth or not, I mean, I can only accept the answer that they give me. But I've asked women this that have children. I'm going to ask you, being that you do have a child, when you first had your child, and you got back on the dating scene, has that had any like direct effect on your dating choices? Like there like be honest, have there been men that they may have found you attractive and liked you, but when you told them that you had a child, they respectfully told you that, they weren't interested anymore because, they're just not interested in dating a woman that has kids at the moment.
No, I've never had that issue.
That's what all these women have been telling me. They've been telling me that it
But a
has
lot of
no
women you
effect
speak
on
to
their
got
dating.
two, three, four, five kids. I have one child. My child is 9 years old, so I have one son. So that's a lot different for me on the dating market than it is. I feel like a woman with one child is a lot different than when you're talking to women that have multiple children. I feel like there's a difference. And my mom has always told me the more children you have, or if you have children, it just like a man would rather deal with a woman a woman with one child versus a woman with three children. And I think that that's just how it is. But I mean, that's neither here nor here, how men choose to, select them. But I've
Right.
seen multiple ways.
Right. I respect your opinion, but I'm also going to respectfully disagree. I don't think that. I mean, I think one kid is too many for a lot of men, for a lot of childless men. That is, I think one kid is too many. The reality is that most young men, especially young men, that are childless, that are accomplished, that are successful, that are doing what they need to do out here, their own mothers and grandmothers and aunties and all the women that love and care about them in their life, these are the people that are really telling them to, like, not date single mothers. And like I said earlier to someone in the comments, it's not about um dehumanizing. I think that's the word she used, or disliking a certain group of people. It's just weighing the pros and cons, and more times than not, the possibility for the cons to outweigh the pros is like more prevalent. So they just advise to stay away from that. So
As a
the point I'm trying to make is I respectfully disagree with you, and I believe that one kid is too many for a lot of childless men,
as a sister,
especially if the man, real quick, especially if the father is still active in that child's life.
okay. So as a sister, my brother's an auntie, all types of things, whatever the case may be. Do not eat my sunflower seeds, Bentayga. I'm sorry. But as a sister and everything like that, I would have respectfully, and I hope this isn't repeated, but I would have respectfully rather my brother, who is a successful young black man, he's in his mid 30s, he's still young. I would have rather him marry the woman who he was dealing with who had one kid than the woman who he married with no kids. She was there. Who their persons in the whole family feel like that, and I'm not the only one. And it's just who her person is. So I can't necessarily, because like I said, I think a lot of people feel like things are anomalies because they have never, like, when I went to the hood and I would hear people be like, oh yeah, my baby mama sells such and she be doing, I was like, you deal with these people? Like you still deal with that woman? Like, because that's an anomaly to me. But when you live differently, and there's black people, there's billions of black people that live differently. We all have different realities of life, right? Because we all go through different things, and money changes that as well, and experiences, right? But I feel like it's the experience of the black people. Okay, give me the water bottle. It's the experience of that black person, is just how I feel.
So even now, do you, I mean, I don't, you know what, like, your options were when it came to dating before you had your child, but when you're talking like to men now, when you're like in just like in the initial stages of getting to know them, do you disclose to them that you have a child?
Bentley's my screensaver. So Bentley's
You-
my
Your
screensaver. So all of the
your,
men that I've ever talked to
your
will
green
always.
screen's not up. Your green screen's not up.
No, I said Bentley's my screensaver of my phone.
Oh, okay.
So, with that being said, every man's always gonna know that my child is important, and it's not a picture of me and Bentley. It's just Bentley on my screen, and I've only ever dated two men that had children. Most of the men that I've dated or been interested in or courted for a long or we courted for a while, they knew that I didn't have a kid and they don't have kids. Like the guy that I'm dealing with now, he doesn't have kids. And he's very successful. And you know Bambi. But yeah, he doesn't have kids. And I think you're right. That's my preference, but I don't think every woman's like that. But my preference is to deal with a man without kids. I like men without kids. I don't want to. I dated a man with kids. Like I told you about the older guy that I dated with his kids. I don't. I just don't want to deal with a man and his kids. I would just rather not have baby mother issues. The same way that I think that a lot of people feel about women. I feel about men. I don't want baby mama issues or nothing like that, and I don't want to date a man with kids.
Right. So like I said, I too believe, well, I know for a fact that most women with kids don't want to date men that got kids. But I don't know, Bambi. I think it's low key kind of selfish because when I've asked them, Bambi, like, why is it that you don't want to date a man that has a child or children? I've been told they don't I've been told, "Oh, I don't want to do the blended family thing. I don't want to possibly deal with baby mama drama." So I'm like, "Well, okay. Like this man is a childless man. So you want him to come in and again, you want him to not only be a partner to you, you're not only seeking companionship, but this man is also going to have to provide for you and yours like they're his actual kids.
Once
Even
we married, I don't think it
even
got something to do with
even
being
even
boyfriend and
even
girlfriend. Like,
even if the dad is in the life. So
no,
me
I think
personally,
that's
I think that's kind of like a I think that's kind of a selfish like mindset. It's like and I'm gonna say this. One of my 33-year-old friends, and she's a divorcee and she has two kids. She told me that the primary reason that a lot of women don't want to date men that have children is because they don't want to deal with baby moms like themselves. That's what she told me.
But what I think is I kind of disagree because I think when it comes into marriage, those things are definitely going to be accounted for. Like, yeah, my child is part of your life. We're together. But when it comes to boyfriend and girlfriend, like me and my guy or friend or whatever have been in a we and it's been 4 months now. So we've been in our shit or whatever for 4 months and he hasn't met my child and that's okay for me and I'm not ready to be like, oh, I gotta go to dinner and you gotta meet my son or whatever. But the further that we go and things like that, it'll be introduced, but it's not oh, you need to pay for or you need to whatever. But I feel like as a real man, he wouldn't even say like if we all went to dinner, he wouldn't be like, oh, you got to pay for your son. Like no, if that would just be something that, and I'm not gonna expect it. If he don't, that's fine. But I'm just gonna know what type of man he is. But I don't think that that would be something that's. I think that's something more focused on when marriage comes, where a woman should focus on that man doing for her child.
Even even for me, like I date men with children, like I don't mind, but he has to have the same type of family dynamic as me. Like I have my children 24/7, and most men have their kids only on the weekends, and I don't feel comfortable even having a future with somebody, and this guy is a 24/7 dad to my children, while he gets to see his child he only sees his child every other weekend. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And then most of the time, I'm just like you most of the time with dads, like I need to know the dynamic. Like, did you create this broken home? Like, did you cheat on your ex? Like, did you leave your ex single mother? Like, cause some men would literally like they would have a relationship and get a woman pregnant, and then like just decide that they don't like the responsibility of having a child. Like, they will be amazing boyfriends. Like some men can be amazing boyfriends, so a woman can be amazing girlfriends, but be horrible mothers and be horrible fathers. Like I don't understand why people fail to see that. Like people can become because it's a whole different responsibility when you're raising a child. Like your life completely changed. So when it comes to a man, if he's not an active father or at minimum have some sort of custody of his children, I won't date him because I feel like you don't have a healthy situation with the mom, or you don't have a healthy balance with your children, and you wouldn't understand my family dynamic. Like I have my kids 24/7. My kids be in bed by 9 o'clock. I don't have time to. I have to plan. I have to prepare. Like so, the guys that I date that don't have any children, they have businesses. They understand. They meet me outside of me being a mom, and they love the fact they love seeing me as a mother. People love mothers. Like I only hear about this on TikTok. Like, yes, I've been on dates with a man, and he like say like, oh, I took you on this date because you're pretty and I enjoy our conversation on the phone. But Kevin Samuel said that, you're low value. And so you should feel grateful that I'm on this date. I'm just like, sir. And I would just get up and leave. Like, I don't get mad when men tell me that they want to date women that have children. I'm like,
Are
okay,
you
that's
being
fine with me.
serious?
Yes, yeah, I've been on dates. I've been on a date before, and he was like, "You're just gonna leave." I'm just like, "Yeah, why would I stay here?" You just try to tell me like I was low value because Kevin Samuel said it because I have children, and you decided to take me on this date. I
Wait,
just got up and
wait,
left.
wait,
See,
wait, 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 wait,
I've
wait,
never
wait, wait,
experienced
wait,
nothing
wait,
like
wait,
that
wait,
before.
wait, wait.
Yeah, I have.
Wait. You're telling me that you've been on a date before and the man literally was across the table from you, looking you in your eyes and told you you're beautiful, but you should even be grateful that I'm here with you right now because Samuel said that you're like a low value woman because you're a single mom or something like that?
We went out on a date and we was talking. We was just having a regular conversation about like dating. And he was just, and we was talking about like, just like regular discussions about men and women and like hot topics on the internet. And so I was like, yeah. He was like, how you feel about Kevin Samuels? I was like, I don't really care too much about him. He always dehumanized like single mothers and like women that has worked hard in their life. He was like, yeah, but let's be honest, you are low value as a single mother. I was like, why are you on a date with me? He's like, I mean, because you're pretty. He was like, I like your vibe, like you cool, but you're still low value. You should like that's a reality. And I was just like, really? So I was like, I'm about to leave. He was like, wow, you should like feel grateful. And I was like, grateful for what? Like, grateful, like, I wouldn't feel grateful. He was like, yeah, because I make six figures. I got my own place. Like, you should feel, I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm
What
not. So I
city
just
you live
left.
in?
Huh? I live in
What?
DC, but that happened when I was in North Carolina. I was living in Winterville, North Carolina at that time.
Nanny, how old are you?
I'm 32.
And how many kids do you have?
I have two. I have two.
But are they by the same man?
No, so my oldest was my fiance. And then my second one, I was assaulted.
Okay. I've never heard. I'm not saying that you lying at all because I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, but I never heard. I
I mean,
never.
of course you wouldn't hurt. Like, I don't think a female would be that bold. I don't know. Women say
Nah,
stuff
men
all the
say
time,
some weird stuff though, cause
but
dudes
men
gonna be.
are like crazy. I mean, some men are really bold. I don't want y'all can say that y'all believe stuff like that, but
I met this guy at the bar and he invited me out tonight and he talking about we going to the club, it's some strippers, a pastor, we finna pray on the strippers and bless them. And I was like, what, sir? I'm not going nowhere with you. And that's why I'm in the house. Like, men be saying weird stuff. Like, I'm not gonna put that past her at all because I meet some weird men. Like, I like
But
your nose, I lick your nose. Like, men say some weird shit and you be like, what?
why would a man? Why would a man take a woman out if he really thought she was low value? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, some men. So some
Did he know you
people.
had a child before y'all went out?
Yeah, he knew I had children. Like he knew I had children before we went out. Just I don't know. I just feel like it's some, though one of those things like Avenge of the Nerds. Like I'm not saying Avenge of the Nerds. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful. But people start feeling confident about themselves, and they just be trying to take it out on other people. Like it's just things like that. Like some people are just sick in the head, and they really just want to boost their confidence, or they just want to make somebody feel I don't know, like lower about themselves. I'm assuming. I don't know. I never talked to him again after that. He did keep trying to reach out to me and try to like apologize like 2 weeks after that, but I
So
don't.
did y'all not have any conversations about Kevin Samuels or any of these hot topics on the phone before y'all ever linked in
We
person?
we no we so we met on what's that date? It's not Bumble. It's the other one. What you call it?
Tinder?
The
Tinder?
black one. No, Black. We met on Black. And then we talked on there, and then 2 weeks after we went on Block, we went on a date. So that was like um our first date. So we talked a few times on the phone, and he was more so getting to know me. And he was really nice. So that's why I want to date with him. Like he never indicated anything about not wanting to date one with children. Like he's never said anything like that before. But we was on there. He was like, you're pretty, but that whole conversation about but he's right. You are a low value woman. I'm just like, are you serious? Like, you want to call me low value woman? And we on this date. It sounds crazy, and I was just as confused as everybody else, like how unbelievable that could be. But I'm so serious that happened because people are weird. Like whatever supervillain, you can say it's Cap, but I wish it wasn't Cap. Like, cause that was embarrassing. But it happened.
Wait, so how old were you when you had your first kid?
I was 20. I was 20. Yeah,
So
I was 20. I was
since,
no 20, 21, 20. Yeah, I got pregnant when I was 20 because I didn't want. I met my fiance when I was in college, so I just wanted to get married. I never wanted to be out. Not shame anybody that want to go out, be out in the streets. So I just wanted to get married. So I met my fiance when I went to culinary school.
okay, so what has your dating experience been since you've been a mother? Like have you had any experiences where like a man has respectfully told you like, you know what, you are beautiful, I do find you attractive, and I do think you're a good person, but I'm just not really interested in like, pursuing a relationship with you right now because I don't think I'm ready to, be a stepfather.
No, that wasn't the only time I had that experience. Like men just don't date me. They don't want to date women with children. They just don't. I've never had a guy
I can't
initiate.
agree. I gotta totally disagree because I only have dealt with single, like men with no kids, single men with no kids. So I gotta agree. I don't know why, but I've only ever dealt with men with no kids.
I don't see why people get confused about that. Like I know what y'all see one thing on social media, and then y'all hear experience of like two single mothers saying like we've been approached by childless men,
No,
and
I
and
don't.
no, I'm not talking about you, but even still like your facial expressions, like y'all be acting like people women with children is like an STD or something. Like y'all, it's just
No, I
weird how
don't.
people.
I'm
I'm not
But
I'm
talking
most
making
men with
about
faces.
social
children,
I'm
media.
making faces at that Kevin Samuel story because
and most men with
Oh yeah,
children,
that
you'll
was
never
wild.
even know that they have children because it's not even something that's brought up or really even talked about.
Y'all can share that story. That was wild to me. Like me and my friends still laugh about it to this day because it's weird, but that actually happened.
okay, let me ask y'all this: Has there be 100% honest? Because we have a 28-year-old and a 32-year-old on here. Have y'all since y'all have been mothers? Has there been instances where you may have told a man that you're a mother, and he may have acted like he didn't have any issue with you being a mother and he was all cool with it, but like as you progressed, as the like relationship progressed or whatever, um, he kind of like as time continued to go by, and y'all didn't like sleep with each other, did they have there been instances where they have slowly faded away, or just have there ever been times where these men have showed signs that like actually you don't want anything serious despite how you were trying to come off?
So like being ghosted or something? Or are you trying to say
Not
Kevin
being
got?
ghosted, just had a guy like portray himself to be who he's not, or just portray like basically like he tried to make it seem like you having a kid isn't a problem, and he was like had no issues with it, but as time went by,
A,
it
a
became
woman will
clear
never
that he
know
was
if that
lying.
was actually the problem. Like a woman will never know if that man don't tell you like that man did in the restaurant, you a low value woman. If a man with a woman after she tells him she has a kid, they go on dates and dates or whatever, and then he's just some reason disappear or ghost. You'll never know why because he's ghost. So move on to the next.
Yeah, I had a man say like, we dated for a while, and he was just like, yeah, you don't have enough time for me. You always have to be with your children, and I need someone has more time for me. And I was like, okay, I understand. and just it didn't work. Like it wasn't like a shameful thing. It was like
Right.
you don't have enough time for me. You always with your kids. Every time I'm on the phone with you, your child would come in there, or I was upset. Like it was one time, this guy I dated for like a year. He was upset because I was, I cook, so I don't mind cooking. So he was upset that he had came over, and my daughter, like, she wanted to sleep in my room, and I was like, you're gonna have to, leave. He was like, why I gotta leave? And I was like, because my daughter wants her. Like, she's having a nightmare. You gotta leave, and I don't want her to see you. Like, you have to go. He got mad because he had to leave. Like, I was like, that. Well, that's on you. So
Were
it's
you wait?
situations like
Were you
that.
in a relationship with this man?
Yeah, we was in a relationship for over a year, a little over a year. He got upset about that, and that's the time I left him because I'm like, I don't want to be with a man that feels like my child is not going to come first regarding like she has a nightmare. Like that doesn't even make sense to me. And that's when I just had my one daughter.
Okay, but essentially, what I'm trying to ask y'all is, as single mothers, do are y'all wary that there are single childless men that exist out here that you know, like I know y'all have heard these men on the internet say that single moms are for recreational use only. Either I've heard black men on this app say that. So I'm just asking, like, are y'all weary of that to the fact that there are men that really don't have any good intentions for single moms, like they don't want to pursue any sort of serious relationship with them, but they do want to get physical with them and have fun with them. Like, are y'all aware of that, or do y'all think that whether a man does have children or he's childless, that they all of them have the same intentions?
I think from my personal experience, like I said, I haven't had a problem with it. I think to each his own. And I don't believe that it's an anomaly neither. I'm not going to say it's a few men or anything like that. I think it's just what you choose to do because every man that I've dated, like almost nearly, and really had seriously, didn't have kids. So I think it's more so a preference thing. Um, and like you said, some men will say, "Oh, I don't date women with children, and meet that woman and and date a
Right.
woman with a child." So, I
Right.
mean, I don't know, but I've never felt like that.
Oh, let me ask you this though: of the men that how many can you count on one hand the number of men that you've actually introduced to your son before, though?
Because I don't let everybody meet them. Like I told you, the guys I've been dealing with now, it's been 4 months, and he hasn't met Bentley yet. So yeah, I'm very particular about Bentley.
Right.
But the guy that I'm dealing with now, like I said, he hasn't met my son, but we did like a family event for Memorial Day. And his family, like when we were out there talking, I don't think he told him I had a kid, but I told them. And it was like during conversation, you could kind of see like they were looking at me like, but then everybody was like real cool. But like, when I said it, it was like, it was like everybody, but the aunt, she's like, "You have a son?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do have a son." I'm like, "You want to see pictures of him? He's on my screensaver." And she's like, "Oh, but I think they were more so interested into what type of person I am." Because it was that one auntie that was like, "Oh, you have a son?" But she was so up my ass for the rest of the night. You couldn't have told me anything different. And me and him are clearly still dealing with each other. But yeah, I think it's just to each his own. I think it's who the woman is. Like I'm a dope woman, so I think that I cleared a lot more areas off the board before me being a single mom was even thought about. This woman's not good enough for you.
What about you, Nandy? Are you wary of especially childless men's intentions, or do you think that like childless or if they do have children that they all have the same intentions for you?
Yeah, I mean, I worry about everybody's intentions. I'm very, as far as like having some sort of discernment with
Right.
everybody that come my way. Like people, there are men with children that are predators. Like there are men with children that still like my oldest, my ex fiance. He told me he didn't have kids, and when I found out he had children, it was like honestly too late. I was just young and dumb. But when I found out he had kids, I'm just like, wow, like this man is the baby father. I didn't even know he had 3 children in New York that he did not tell me anything. But he told me he had no children, was playing basketball in college, like things like that. So I'm leery about everybody because people can make up a whole like lie about their whole persona and it's not even truthful. So I just really, as an older woman now, I just been more mindful and wiser when it comes to dating, like just being making sure this person is who they say they are, making sure that integrity and seeing how they treat other people as well. Because I work in nonprofit and I go to a lot. I'm in a lot of like political spaces and like galas, things of that sort. I meet a lot of men that's like interested in like youth development. Meet a lot of men that's interested in like adoption and considering things like that. I meet a lot of men that don't have kids. They have a hard time finding decent women that don't have children. So I don't, like I said before, like I don't understand why they treat like having a child as like a scarlet letter, like she's like doomed for life. When I know I have a lot of single men friends that don't have kids, and they say they have a hard time finding women that don't have children because they're toxic as hell. So it's like,
Wait,
it's just weird.
did you say that your first child's father had 3 kids?
Yeah, he had 3. Yeah, he didn't even he didn't tell me. It's weird, but I was young and gullible. Like now, I do more research, but then I was just like, I'm in college, just trying to find my husband, believing everything a person say out their damn mouth. But no, even his mother lied for him. Said, "Oh, he don't have any children," and she knew as well. So mothers be lying to y'all. Gotta watch out, ladies. If you listening, y'all gotta watch out for the mothers, because them mothers will lie for their for their kids.
You know what? I say this though. I'll be 100% honest to the men in here. Y'all can feel however y'all want to feel about what I'm about to say. And listen, I don't know why they're this way. Maybe my experience has been this way because they are mothers. But I will say, and I'm being 100% honest, the single moms that I know that I have and I've had relationships with, they've been like the coolest, like, most down to earth, like humble, just like chill women. And again, I don't know, maybe because they have a child, or some of them have kids, so they feel like they need to humble themselves. But I'm just saying that has been my experience. Versus like the childless woman, like I honestly have not met like no woman that has a child that's just like a complete airhead, just super arrogant. Like, I haven't met them. I'm just being honest. Just being honest. The women that be having the kids be the most coolest ones. I'm
But
trying to
you
tell
have
y'all.
to, like, people don't understand when it comes to children, and I don't know, Bambi, if you feel like this as well. Like, people think, like, I laugh at like some of these podcasts because they say like, oh, you're having his legacy, your child is your legacy, but it's like your child is not your legacy. Like, your child is a completely different human being. Like, they might have little genetics that's like similar to you. They might look from like a little bit like you, but my oldest and my youngest are like night and day. Like my oldest, she loves horror movies. She loves like scary things. She's very blunt, like just how she is. But me, I'm very soft spoken. I'm very like nice and like caring, and I'm terrified of scary movies. I don't know where she got that from. Like I am terrified of scary movies. She did not get that from me. I really don't know where she got that from, but like your children are completely different, and so you have to have this very open-minded type of mindset when you have kids, because it's like you can't just beat them into behaving, or you can't just beat them into having some sort of structure. You really gotta talk with them, communicate. You you have to be good at having a relationship with people when you have children. So because you have to have a relationship with a stranger, and this stranger have to have a relationship with you. Like your child is literally a stranger, and they change. Like they constantly change. So when you see that firsthand, you have no choice but to be nurturing and caring, or be open minded to other people, because literally you're practicing every single day how to have a healthy relationship with your child. So you're going to know how to have a healthy relationship with adults.
Okay, I want y'all to be 100% honest. So again, like I stand on that. The woman with the kids be like the more humble, down to earth, like cool. That's just been my personal experience. Um, but to both of you on here, can you understand again? I'm not talking about the men that I'm not talking about the childless men that say single moms or for recreational use only, or they dislike women, or they have resentment for women, revenge of the nerds. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about just childless, accomplished, successful men that they just do not have a preference of they just don't have a preference of dating women with kids because they do feel that the cons outweigh the pros. I mean, a lot of them don't even feel like there's any pros, to be honest with you. But as can y'all understand why some men just might not want to date single moms? And can y'all understand, like, can y'all name some reasons why they might not want to date single moms?
Because single moms have baby daddy drama sometimes. I don't personally. My child father's not involved. But I think baby daddy drama is an issue. Um, I also believe that it's an issue when it comes to family, the way the family's looking at you. Um, I believe it's an issue when it comes down to you being involved with just someone else's child, not your child. And sometimes people can't bear that.
So you mentioned your child's father not being around. But even if and when the child's father is around, like most, let me not say most, but I'll say a lot of men have an understanding that when they become serious with a woman that has a child or has children, that they also need to take on um those children as his responsibility, even though they're not his biological children. So um basically, essentially what I'm trying to say is, there are some men that they don't want to have a household where another man has influence in their household. They don't want to have a household to where they're taking care of and providing for people, but they can't necessarily discipline them the way they want to discipline them. They don't have the authority that a man would want to have in his own household. Like, can y'all kind of understand what I'm saying?
No, because I feel like that's up to the woman. That's up to how the woman handles that household and how the woman carry that and how the woman deals with that man. Some women don't handle it respectfully, and I feel like some women do handle it respectfully. Like Sierra will handle it real respectfully. So I just feel like it just comes down to how that situation is.
I agree. Like it really depends on a woman. I've always been a very homebody, homemaker type of woman. Like that's why I was in culinary school. Like I always wanted to be a wife. So I always, even now, like I manage my household like a homemaker. And so when it comes to a man coming in, it's just that my daughter's father is not involved at all. So it's simple. So with my situation, he wouldn't have that concern. But I don't know, men that think like that, I feel like they have this like controlling mindset. Like I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Like that's just weird to me. Like, oh,
Uh-huh.
I want to be in the house, because they even still, because it's like you're gonna sit here and tell me that you're not gonna want to help take care of a child that's not under you, like that I had with you. I want a man that is wants to adopt my children, like, or it will be his children as well. Like, I don't want a man that's
I
just like,
wouldn't necessarily say adopt those, sis, because you got to realize too, if y'all get divorced, he's responsible for child support if he adopt your kids. So I wouldn't
yeah, I
even say
wouldn't
I
put
would
him on
want a
child
man to
support
adopt
though.
my son. You feel me? Because then that would legally that man would then be responsible after y'all get divorced. He would legally be responsible for child support for that child because he adopted it.
Well, I wouldn't put him on child support. I wouldn't. I don't even believe in divorce, so I would hope that it won't get to that point. But I see what you're saying, but by in a mindset, within his mindset, I would hope like that's like he loved my kids enough to even consider that or even call them their children. But there's I would want a man that's like, oh, if another man come up in here, I don't want him regulating my household. Like it's just weird. Like even because if I was to ever be a stepmother, I would be okay with the mother. Like okay, we just gonna have to all get
Okay, but
along.
Mandy, you're a woman. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're a woman at the end of the day. Like
To
I
you
don't
as
think.
a
What's
man,
up, big booty Niqua? Like I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't think a man that is living with a woman and providing for her and also providing for her children that are not his biological children. I don't think he's controlling for wanting to have a certain level of authority in his household. And I'm happy Blueheart is up here because he's a father, so he can speak to this better than I can. But and I'm not a father and I'm a young man, but I don't think that's controlling. I think every man is going to want to have like authority. So,
What? But what
one
breaks
second,
the
baby. One second.
authority?
Especially for children that he's providing for and taking care of. I think he's gonna want to discipline them the way he's gonna want to discipline them, and I don't think he's gonna want to have another man having influence in his household. I don't think he's gonna want a situation to where he's gonna be having to have conversations. Let's, for example, Blueheart is the father. Just hypothetically, let's say one of Blueheart's children is living, a good amount of time with his mom, with his child's mother and her new man. I don't think most men are going to want to have to be talking to Blueheart about their children and letting Blueheart have an influence in their home because he is going to have an influence in their home. So I personally, I don't think that is controlling.